Greetings, good people, and welcome. All right, it's hot topics time, y'all. D.L. Hughley, he's on the lineup. He had some choice words for Nicki Minaj. Lizzo, okay, she had a legal win recently. We're going to touch on that. The former head coach of Michigan, aka Big Dummy. We're going to talk about him and his situation, and also update the lady that he was having the rendezvous with. Okay, she is still employed, and I'm going to get into why. Okay, we got a couple of other hot topics sprinkled in between. As you are coming in, please pay your admission fee by hitting the like button. All right, so before we get into those juicy topics, I want to play what Dr. Umar had to say about the Diddy documentary, okay? He's not excited about the fact that 50 Cent pretty much executive produced this, and he shared his thoughts, okay? If you haven't heard this, take a listen. Like to hear it? Here you go.
About the Diddy documentary. And I have no problem with black people holding black people accountable. I'm having a problem with black people needing to expose black people that in-depthly.
Yeah.
But you never expose white people who do things to black people. The Roman Catholic Church has taken advantage of way more children than R. Kelly allegedly did.
Right.
Are you following me?
I'm following you.
Jeffrey Epstein has taken advantage of way more women than Sean Combs allegedly did. But where is the documentary on Epstein by black people? Where's the documentary on the Roman Catholic Church excesses on black people? You see what I'm saying? So to me, the 50 Cent documentary, again, respect the 50, no issues there. It is an example of self-hatred disguised as community service. You see how that go? It looks like community service. No, it's not. That's self-hate. I saw the Diddy.
All right, so what y'all think about what Dr. Umar had to say about the Diddy documentary? Look, there are a couple of people who share the same sentiment as Dr. Umar, Dame Dash being one of them, but I don't like Dame Dash. I would much rather hear it from Dr. Umar. Dame Dash pretty much said the same thing, not as eloquently, but he said that, 50 doesn't get any props for tearing another black man down. I agree with Dr. Umar wholeheartedly. However, what also can be true, right? The statement that Dr. Umar, in my opinion, made, true statement. I agree with him. But also, someone like Diddy and many others, regardless of race, color, or creed, can be held accountable for their disgusting behaviors, okay? If Diddy didn't behave in a manner where he would be investigated or a documentary would be done about him, then we wouldn't be here, right? But sometimes people add to their own demise, all right? So yeah, he chose not to be squeaky clean, I guess, for lack of a better word. So there's more than enough evidence against him for his questionable behavior. You know what? It's not even questionable. It's downright rotten, okay? His artist said that he stole from them. He was disrespectful to plenty of people, abusive to plenty of people. So he caused a lot of this on himself, okay? I did a members only live, and I did say that I don't think that Diddy was born this way. I believe that he was created to be this way, and it would have been interesting to call out the people who created this monster that we see as Diddy, okay? Can he be rehabilitated? If he wants to be, yeah. And again, I don't disagree with Dr. Umar whatsoever, but we know the 50 Cents and people who are like 50 Cent are not going to put out documentaries about the people whose hand they eat from. Put it that way. We know that. That's not going to happen. There's no platform, streaming platform or media platform that is going to broadcast that, okay? This thing runs deep. So although I agree with Dr. Umar. I mean, Diddy pretty much handed the powers that be the handcuffs for them to handcuff him. You get what I'm saying? And there's more coming out. The guy Q from Day 26 footage was released of him, and this is just gonna get worse, I think, before it dies down. It's truly disgusting. Diddy is not innocent. His nose is not clean, literally and figuratively. I'm just saying. Anyway, moving along. Netflix, I thought that this was very interesting, and I'm curious to see the outcome of this. So, according to industry sources, right, cited by the Anchor, Netflix is reportedly close to finalizing a deal with iHeartMedia that would bring around 20 video podcasts to the streaming platform. The reported catch: full video episodes would no longer run on YouTube. Okay. So, whichever 20 podcasts that Netflix decides to make a deal with, their footage, or their content, I should say, will no longer run on YouTube. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a clause in the contract like, all right, once you sign over here with us, you can't have your content on YouTube. So this to me says that Netflix is trying to come for major platforms like YouTube. Okay. The article goes on to read the potential lineup is said to include major shows like The Breakfast Club and Stuff They Don't Want You to Know, signaling a possible shift in where audiences will be able to watch some of the biggest podcast names. The deal has not been officially announced by Netflix or iHeartMedia, but if finalized, it would mark a major power move as Netflix continues pushing deeper into the video podcast space and possibly challenges YouTube's dominance in the category. Now, do you think that Netflix can really go up against YouTube and win? I think as far as branding is concerned, YouTube is more popular. I don't think that Netflix is going to knock YouTube out or out of the game, but they definitely could be a strong competitor, right? Um, I'm curious if this deal is finalized. I'm curious to see which podcasts will shift over to Netflix. iHeartMedia, right? So anything under iHeart, I'm thinking, okay, The Breakfast Club. Charlemagne from The Breakfast Club also has his Black Effect network under iHeartMedia. So I wonder if everyone who signed a contract with Charlemagne's Black Effect network, will they be shifting over to, there's a couple of people that signed under him. Lauren LaRosa, which I personally don't think that she should have done. I think she should have stayed working with The Breakfast Club as senior news producer. That's her official title. And the latest with Lauren LaRosa, I think that she should have kind of kept that completely separate, but whatever. Also Carlos King, he's signed over there. Who else? I don't even remember who else. Those are the two that I could think of. But I don't think that Netflix is going to knock YouTube out. YouTube is Google is a huge entity. I do think that the premium costs are going to skyrocket if this deal goes through. But I'll be curious to see who signs on the dotted lines, which podcasts sign on the dotted line and decide to shift over to Netflix. It could be a good deal for some, and it could be a very bad deal for others. Like YouTube, like I said, YouTube is a very strong brand, and for your stuff to only exclusively be, maybe not exclusively, but maybe they could do Twitch and other streaming platforms, but for you to not have anything to do with YouTube, especially if that's where you started out, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea. So we shall see what will become of this. That's interesting. I like media news. So things like this, especially because of so much happening in the media space, with radio stations firing hosts and radio stations revamping, this company buying out this company. It's a lot of moving and shaking going on. So 2026 will be an interesting year in media. So we shall see. All right, up next, Lizzo. Huge legal win for Lizzo. So she is sounding off in her legal war with her former dancers, speaking up right after their fat shaming claims were dropped, saying that she's not settling for anything less than fighting every allegation until the full truth comes out. So she posted to her IG. She wasn't talking, but she had a whole bunch of captions on there. And she pretty much said that she did not fire her dancer due to fat shaming or anything like that. She said that the dancer was fired because or the person was fired because they recorded her, unbeknownst to her. They recorded Lizzo and they shared the recording. Okay. So here it is. According to Lizzo, the claim got cut since there was no evidence that she fired anyone over weight gain, clarifying that they were actually let go for secretly recording her without her consent and then sending that footage to ex-employees. Okay, so Lizzo added that she's always uplifted and platformed bigger bodies, so the claims, which surfaced in 2023, have haunted her from the beginning, but she trusted her legal team to steer her to victory. All right, and she's hoping that the rest of the case follows suit. So, according to her power attorneys, they had 18 witnesses. They had 18 witnesses in sworn court declarations, ultimately forcing the dancers to drop their appeal over the dismissed claims. Now, do you think that Lizzo is lying? The world may never know, but this is a legal win for Lizzo. I'm pretty sure she's spending a pretty penny on her lawyers, and they are doing what they were hired to do. So good for her. So hopefully we'll hear no more of this. And how dare you secretly record somebody and share it with former employees, and then look, somebody snitched on you. Foolish person. Mm-mm-mm. All right, up next, let's get into this Sherrone Moore. All right. So if you haven't heard, this is the former head coach of Michigan football coach. He was fired after he was exposed for allegedly having an affair with his assistant and making her terminate her pregnancy. This is just a hot mess. First of all, I just want to point out that this guy was the first black head coach in 144 or 120 years or some, not 120, however many years. Okay. And he's not just a big dummy because he was cheating on his wife. Yes, he's married to a white woman. Okay. That's his wife right there in the bottom left box. And his assistant or his employee, she is a white girl as well. So let's read this, and then I want to get into why she's still working, the girl. So the University of Michigan head football coach Sherrone Moore is without a job and behind bars after he was exposed for having an affair with his assistant, which later turned into him threatening to off himself and the woman. That's what led to his arrest. So everything came crumbling down for Moore when he was fired from the head coach position. The school claimed that he had an inappropriate relationship with a staffer, so they terminated his contract with cause, meaning he is leaving with no money. Shortly after his firing, Moore reportedly went home to his wife where a heated altercation ensued. Moore allegedly threatened to off himself due to the scandal being exposed. He then left his house and went to his alleged mistress's house, where he threatened to take her up out of here, then take himself up out of here. He allegedly put a weapon to her throat and claimed that she ruined his life. Whew, what a dummy. He was eventually arrested for assault and thrown in jail, where he is currently still waiting to be arraigned. Okay, this is from a couple of days ago. On the Neighborhood Talk on Instagram. So it was later revealed by a sports journalist that Moore and his affair were reportedly exposed by a DoorDasher who delivered a Plan B to his office and then later gave an anonymous tip to the athletic department about the bizarre delivery. First of all, DoorDasher, mind your damn business. The nerve. The nerve. Anyway, through an investigation, it was revealed that Moore and Shivers, that's the girl, had conceived a baby, but Moore reportedly forced her to terminate it. Then he allegedly boosted her salary by a couple of $1,000s to keep her happy. Child. He got fired with no money. So this is the proof that he upped her salary. Baby, when I tell you I know his Mrs. Moore is probably hotter than fish grease. And they have kids. You have a wife and 2 children, it was reported. All because of lust. I'm telling you, people's one of the biggest downfalls of mankind is lust. It ruins your life every single time. So this is an article that came out today from USA Today, right? Woman in Sherrone Moore affair wasn't fired by Michigan. Here's why. This is wild. So the staff member who had an affair with Michigan football coach Sherrone Moore was not fired from her job because of it, unlike Moore, who was dismissed on December 10th. She previously concealed the relationship from the university, which received a tip about it and looked into it and even searched her phone. This is according to the Detroit Free Press. So after breaking up with Moore on December 8th, she finally came clean and told the university about the relationship December 10th, triggering Moore's firing the same day. Okay. Yet she's still employed by the university. The university confirmed December 15th, which is today's date, right at the time of this recording. So why wasn't she fired too? If only because of an apparent lack of prior honesty about the relationship. Well, the university responded to this question from from USA Today Sports, December 5th, yada yada yada, 7/15. So the policy itself, right, is the product of a different scandal at Michigan, right? So it also stresses the importance of the power balance in supervisor-employee relationships and why employees are treated differently from supervisors when it comes to secret affairs. So he would be considered a supervisor in this situation. This is a policy Moore violated to get himself fired. So policy number 201.97 governs supervisor-employee relationships at the university. It states that a supervisor may not implicitly or explicitly initiate or attempt to initiate an intimate relationship with a supervisee. It's not clear whether Moore or his staff member initiated the relationship, which went on for multiple years, according to the prosecutor in Moore's criminal case. But even if she initiated it, the policy still requires the supervisor, not the employee, to disclose the relationship to university officials. Upon disclosure, the university then would implement a management plan to remove the supervisor's power over the employee. Okay? So had this meathead gone to his superiors and said, "Hey, there's a relationship going on here," what they would have done, that's what they say. They probably would have fired him on the spot if he admitted this. But according to their policy, they're claiming what they would have done was probably move old girl to a different department where he would no longer be her supervisor. That's what they say according to this policy. And this policy stems from a previous scandal that happened at Michigan State. Okay, so they implemented this. Her behind is still working there. Isn't that crazy? It makes me wonder. I wonder if she already knew about this policy. Doesn't matter. Because you done got so mad that you showed up to her house, broke into her house, they're alleging, and said that you was going to off yourself. Some reports are saying that you threatened her. Some reports are saying you only threatened to off yourself. And now you're sitting in jail. I don't know if he posted bail or not. All because you wanted to carry on an adulterous relationship. And she is not absolved of any consequences or responsibility either. She's an adulteress as well. You knew that this man was married, and yet you carried on an affair, and you was getting a whole bunch of money. I do think that there should be some disciplinary action taken against this lady. And I'm wondering if they do fire her, if she can basically sue them for wrongful termination. Nowhere in I didn't read the policy, but I wonder, in the policy, does it state that they cannot fire her because of this? He can get fired, but she can get fired as well. I wonder what she told the university when they was going through her phone, when she admitted that they had been in a relationship. He upped her pay. Interesting. How we know you didn't bribe him or try to extort him? Either way, you both are foolish. He's a bigger idiot because you literally risked your livelihood for what? Not to mention, right? Now they're saying that the players are extremely disappointed, which I can understand. Unfortunately, you are going to make it look bad for the rest of us. And y'all know what I mean when I say the rest of us. And no, one person shouldn't be a representation of all of us. But in these ghetto states of America, Mr. Moore is a representation of all of us that look like him. So what about the next person, the next man black man that comes along and wants to be head coach at a university, maybe not Michigan, but a university, they're going to look at him, with a little discrimination. I mean, they already do, but. And what about your family? I never understand why people get married knowing that they're not ready to forsake all others. It makes no sense to me. It makes me wonder. Now your kid's gonna be humiliated. Your kid's gonna be embarrassed. Your wife, I'm sure, is embarrassed. Risking your job for what? And she's still employed. She shouldn't be. I don't think she should be employed. She's a whore. You're a home wrecker. I don't feel sorry for him, though. I truly don't. Let's see what some of these comments are saying, because I know that they're funny. 58,000 to 90,000. Exactly. She was doing a good job. Right. They didn't look into that. Nobody looked into that to see why her salary jumped like that. Them saltines get y'all black ears together every time. White woman headquarters. We got another one, over and out. I can't. Imagine fumbling a 5-year, $27.5 million bag over a side piece. And then your wife now has to decide, is she going to stay with you or is she going to leave you? What job are you going to get? They're going to make sure that you ain't getting no job this side of the Mississippi, sir. Was she fired as well because she knew he was a married man? Well, I just answered that question. Oh, and her dad works for the Bears NFL team. How convenient. She probably set you up, you big idiot. Losing your job because you couldn't control your lust is I've seen it too many times, bro. People and their lust ruins their lives and other people's lives too. I could go on and on and on about this, but I'm not. I'll spare you. He's foolish. I don't feel sorry for him though. I truly don't. No. You put your lust before your family, before your children, before your well-being. You're married. Why are you married? Ruining your wife's life. Anyway, D.L. Hughley has some words for Nicki Minaj, okay? So he goes in on Nicki Minaj after recent political involvement. Let me tell you something. Whatever. I ain't really got much to say. So y'all go ahead and enjoy this video, okay? And I'll meet you down in the comments. Be sure to like the video, all right? Be sure to drop down in the comments and share your thoughts. So let's take a look and listen at what Brother D.L. Hughley had to say, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Like to hear it? Here it go.
I can't tell people what to post or what to say, but Nicki Minaj damn sure needs to stay away from anything, posting anything about kids, trans or otherwise. She supports a dude that is on the Epstein list 1,000 times. She's actually married to a registered sex offender, a pedophile. She shouldn't be able to watch Jason Kidd or listen to Kid and Play or New Kids on the Block. Hell, she got to walk around the aisle with Cabbage Patch Kids on it. And she damn sure should stay away from Sour Patch Kids. And it ain't Governor Newsom Nicki needs to be worried about. It's Chris Hansen.